So in the previous session, we actually did check three properties, VS1 to VS3, and we found that each of these properties are actually satisfied for a set of matrices defined over some field of scalars. Now let us talk about VS4. Let's talk about VS4. Okay. Just a minute. So what VS4 is asking me? VS4 is asking me that, okay, if we have tested till VS3, then we need to find whether for each element the matrix inverse is the inverse of the matrix element, the matrices can exist. The inverse of the matrix, by inverse element, we actually do not mean A inverse. This is something else. Okay, here by inverse we actually mean the additive inverse. Additive inverse of each element of the matrix. Does it exist or not? Additive inverse, such as if I consider the number 2, its additive inverse, you know, it is minus 2. It is when 2 is added to minus 2, it gives you the quantity 0, which is the additive identity. So we have to find it out. We know that if we consider any matrix A, which is of the type Aij m cross n, for this we can find another matrix which we actually denote by capital B, and we can define this as minus Aij m cross n, so that if I add the two matrices A plus B, then we actually get the following: Aij m cross n plus minus Aij m cross n, which is Aij, I must use this plus over here for now, Aij plus minus Aij m cross n, which is nothing but 0ij m cross n, which is nothing but 0 bar, which is the additive identity of this particular set. It is not 0, it is the matrix. So we see that there exists a kind of matrix minus Aij m cross n for which this VS4 is satisfied. Let's talk about VS5. We know that in the set of matrices, there is a matrix which is called the identity matrix, which we denote by whose all of whose diagonal elements are 1. So this is the identity matrix which I denote by 1, and its diagonal elements are all 1, and off diagonal elements are 0. Identity matrix. I am not using a kind of notation. That means if I write 1ij m cross n, that means every element is 1. So identity matrix, let us call it by its name. We'll understand that it is actually what we mean by this. So identity matrix is there, and we know that if we consider any matrix Aij m cross n, and if we multiply it by the identity matrix, which is which I am actually considering this to be the multiplication that is actually of this type. And if I consider Aij m cross n, what we find? We actually find that the same matrix will come, because identity matrix doesn't change the characteristic of the matrix. The same matrix come. Identity, this actually what it is actually kind of element which plays the role of the multiplicative identity. Say for example, if I have a number 2, which when multiplied by the number 1 gives you the number 2. So here, when identity matrix gets multiplied by any matrix, gives back the matrix itself. So this property is also satisfied. It's quite obvious. VS6. If I go to VS6, you will see that if I choose if we choose two scalar quantities A and B in the field capital F, and a matrix A which is Aij m cross n is chosen from the set m cross n F. Okay, so then if I multiply the two scalar and then we actually multiply it by the matrix itself, that is capital A, it means, what does it mean? It means the following: Aij m cross n, and this is same as this dot I'm using over here. This is same as A dot B. You know that we can write it as, now before that, before I write, I have to show it explicitly. This means this is a scalar. We can, individual terms of the matrices will be multiplied by this scalar quantity. Okay, so many notations are there, that means you have to be very careful. So we have, this means that when we multiply the matrix by a scalar quantity, this happens. And if this happens, you know that we can, these are field, these are the scalars from taken from field, so we can associate them. We can associate these quantities together in the following manner. We can write it Baij m cross n, and if it is so, then we can again write it as B Aij m cross n, and then in turn it implies that B dot Aij m cross n, and it implies that A dot B dot A. So this property is also verified. Here, remember, here the product sign has been used, actually taken from the product of the scalar quantity, and here the product is the product of the scalar multiplication of the vector by the scalar. I may do some kind of silly mistakes here and there, but when you copy it carefully, and your copy should not be full of mistakes. It should be free of mistakes, remember. So I'm moving on to the next page. I'm moving on to the next page. Okay, so if you want to see the pages once again, then I'll come back once again. But before, let me first of all finish the problem. It's a very long problem. Now VS7 property is the following: for each element, let us take an element. Okay, let small a be any element of capital F. Okay, it is a scalar quantity, and let us choose capital A and capital B from the set of matrices m cross n F. If I do so, and now if I want to take this quantity into consideration, that I'm first of all adding the two matrices together, and then I'm trying to multiply the matrix by the scalar. Let us try to find out what happens. So first of all, I will substitute these forms over here, and the B matrix is given by this. Okay, and then you know that this is equal to A dot, this sum of two matrices is actually written by this Aij plus Bij. Remember what sort of symbol I have used over here, m cross n. And the scalar multiplication, we actually mean that these quantities will be multiplied by the each of the element of this matrix will be multiplied by the scalar A. So I am using it in the following manner. Remember what sort of operation I have used over here. Try to look at it, and then the scalars will get multiplied with one another. Aij, A into Aij, A into Bij. Okay, and then what we can do, we can write this as Aij m cross n, and this can be written as A dot Bij m cross n, which is A dot capital A plus A dot capital B. So the property VS7 is also satisfied by the set of matrices. And lastly, property 8. Similarly, we choose, take two elements A, B in the field capital F, and take a matrix capital A in M cross N F. And if I add the two scalars, remember what notation I'm using, and if I take the scalar multiplication of the matrix by the scalar quantity, then it means the following: A plus B dot Aij m cross n, and this can be written as A plus B into Aij. Remember the operation that I'm using over here, m cross n. This is A into Aij. Remember the operation, plus B into Aij. Remember both the operations I'm using, and this is the matrix that I'm getting, and it can be written in the following manner as well: Aij m cross n plus, now the symbols are changing. Remember the symbols are changing, B dot Aij m cross n, and that is A dot A plus B dot A, and which satisfies the property 8. So since all the properties from VS1 to VS8 are satisfied, all the properties from VS1 to VS8 are satisfied, we say that this set of matrices M cross n F plus dot with matrix addition and scalar multiplication, this is a vector space. This is a vector space. This is a vector space. So all the properties you see, I'm again showing you the previous pages. I mean, those pages were actually, I have those pages that was saved, but probably you have written from, you can see that each and every property from VS1 to VS8 has been satisfied by the set of matrices. What I showed you in the first example, that set of matrices with respect to, if we consider the set of matrix as an element, I'm not considering the individual elements inside the matrix, I'm considering the matrix as an element. And if I consider the matrix addition and scalar multiplication, if I consider the matrix addition and scalar matrix multiplication, that was not, the structure was not filled. But when we consider another algebraic structure, which is also a set of matrix, whose elements have been where the elements of the matrix have been chosen from a field of real numbers or field of complex number or field of rational numbers, any field, it can be any field other than set of real numbers, complex numbers and rational numbers, other fields are also there, finite fields are also there. You will get to know about the field in more detail in abstract algebra in 4th semester course. Right now it is not required. So if I choose the elements of the matrix from a field, and if I construct the matrix, the set of matrices of any order is going to satisfy each and every property which has been defined from VS1 to VS8. And if it is so, then we say that the set of matrices set of matrices that we have defined by this notation, it is a vector space with respect to the vector addition and scalar multiplication of a vector by a scalar quantity. Therefore, the important notion that we have come across in this example is that, and probably you have never thought of this, that matrices, any matrices, are actually considered to be vectors. Every matrix can be given a vector representation. You have to believe me right now. Every matrix is can be given a vector representation. So previously, when we are doing physics, we used to consider the vector to be that quantity which has magnitude as well as direction. And scalar quantity, those physical scalar quantities were those which have only magnitude. We used to know those quantities as vectors. Right now, the thing has been generalized. We are not confined in the physical vectors only. We are confined in a particular structure where any set, any type of element belonging to a particular set, if satisfies all the properties, can become a vector. So matrices are also vectors. It's a very important thing that you need to know. So the matrix that you have in the module 3 and the vector space you have in module 4, now you see, according to the syllabus, you have the theory of matrices in module 3 and vector space in module 4. Now you see how these two things are combined together. So vector space, all the matrices, set of all matrices with respect to matrix addition and scalar multiplication is a vector space. So that's why I told you in the beginning of the class that I am going to talk about module 4 and module 3 simultaneously. Okay, you have to keep track which part is being completed and how it is being completed. Now, if someone asks me, is there any easy way out? I mean, a very long problem. If I don't know how many pages you have exhausted in your copy to write this particular problem. If you ask me, is there any shortcut method for doing this? Any other software or kind of thing? No software exists which if you give a particular set inside the software and the software is going to tell, yeah, it is a vector space. No, this kind of thing is not there. Only way out is to check it manually. You have to dedicate time. That's why I told you have to dedicate time to find out whether the structure is a vector space or not. And this is not the only case. So other vector spaces I can also define. Let me take a few examples from the book that I'm going to share with you later on. So another example that I'm going to give, you can check it by yourself, is the following. Okay, so for example, we can consider this one question. I'm taking it from the book that I'm going to put you as a reference, as a reference in the Google Classroom. An object of the form, A1, A2, AN, where the entries A1, A2, AN are elements of a field okay, is called just a minute, is called n tuple or n tuple. Some people say it is tuple and some people call it as a tuple. Okay, so an object of this form is called n tuple or n tuple with entries from capital F. Okay, the elements A1, A2, an are called entries, are called entries or components, okay, of the n tuple, of the n tuple. The set of all n tuples is denoted by Fn, where F is the field, we define addition and scalar multiplication operation, as follows. Okay, the operations are defined as, if U is an n tuple which is given by this belonging to Fn, V is an n tuple defined as belongs to Fn, and C is any scalar from the field, the addition operation U plus V is defined as A1 plus B1, A2 plus B2, AN plus BN. Look at the symbol that I am using, and here, and the multiplication operation, I mean the scalar multiplication operation, is denoted by this CA1, CA2, CAN. Show that question is, show that Fn with this operation plus now defined and with this operation dot is a vector space. Vector space defined over a field F, or show that in a simple word, if I write FNF is a vector space. FNF is a vector space. Such a long question, okay, very long question that I have made over here. First of all, I have defined the structure in the following manner. It is called n tuple, and the operations have been defined here in this case. After the operations defined, okay, then I have posed my question that you are supposed to show that this is also a kind of vector space, where each of these tuples A1, A2, AN will be another type of example, set of examples for vectors. So these tuples are another examples of vectors. Okay, so you may think that what is going on, what sort of these tuples are. I don't know whether you guessed it or not correctly. This particular thing is nothing new to you. This thing is actually very old concept that has been only generalized over here. In the coordinate geometry, you have come across this type of thing. Suppose this is my x-axis and this is my y-axis, and suppose this particular quantity has coordinate a1 0, and this coordinate is actually having the coordinate 0 b1, and we can get another point over here which has the coordinate a1 b1. We all know this, and we can give a vector representation of this also, which having the coordinate a1 b1, okay, whose x distance is a1, whose y distance is b1. Now, what if I try to look at this particular problem with respect to the given, if I try to look at this figure with respect to the given problem, you will try to find out that here I have actually considered a two tuple which is the elements are given in the following manner. Here, although I have written a1 b1, I can consider it as a1 a2 also. You can consider in place of b1. Okay, let me write, you will understand in better way. Let us not write b1, let us use the symbol, that I have used over here in the problem. So if I can consider this to be 0 a1, 0 a2, and this coordinate can be considered as a1 a2. Now you see that a1 a2 is a special case of this quantity. Okay, now where have you drawn this particular figure? You have drawn this particular figure in a two-dimensional system, coordinate system. You have considered a two-dimensional coordinate system, which we actually call as 2D system, two-dimensional system or 2D system. Okay. Now, when we use the word dimension in linear algebra, you are going to get to see how actually the dimensions are defined. I don't know how you define dimension. In previous, I can recall in one of my previous classes, I asked a student about something, and the student replied the dimension, the word dimension. I don't know whether he understands the word dimension means properly or not, but when we say dimension, we mean something which is very important concept. We'll get to see. So we have considered a two-dimensional coordinate system. This two-dimensional coordinate system, as you know, it can be represented by, sometimes it can be represented by R2. R2, it is a two-dimensional coordinate system. We denote it by R2. So R is the set of real numbers, isn't it? It is a field. So you see that in general, we define this set of n tuples by Fn. Okay, but here, since R is a real number, we are considering this F to be R. And this by R2, we actually mean R cross R. Cartesian product of R is taken with itself. That is called your R cross R. Whose elements will be of the form, whose elements will be of the form A1, A2, where A1 belongs to the set R and A2 also belongs to the set R. Okay, that we actually denote by R2. And since R is, what are these elements, A1 and A2? These elements are the real numbers, because it is my I'm actually considering the real coordinate system. So I can think of this R2 to be defined on R, just like we try to look at this in general sense, that Fn is defined on F. So we can consider this R2 is defined on R. Okay, so R2 is also a kind of vector space. Is a special case of FNF. This R2 is sometimes called a two-dimensional space, or sometimes called Euclidean space. Two-dimensional Euclidean space, 2D Euclidean space. Similarly, you can think of a three-dimensional coordinate R3R. In this way, you can consider an n-dimensional Euclidean space where the associated vector space will be Rn(R), and so on. So, without looking at this individual two-dimensional system, three-dimensional system, n-dimensional system, they have defined an n-dimensional system. Without looking at the set of real numbers, they have chosen any field, be it real or complex or anything. Complex two-dimensional system is also available. Two-dimensional complex vector space is also available. So this particular thing is actually being generalized by the example that I have given in this particular page. So if you can show that Fnf is a vector space, everything else is a vector space, which is a special case of Fnf. So this ordered pair A1, A2, the ordered triplet A1, A2, A3, all these are vectors. So we have come across two different types of vectors. One is called the matrices can be a vector. We had the experience of physical vectors also. You just try to take two examples. If you consider a particle, you consider its position and consider its momentum. and velocity, and try to analyze whether your physical vectors also satisfy these rules of vector spaces or not. That will be another task. So other and many other examples are there. These are not the only examples. Many more examples of vector spaces, vectors are there, which will be taken into consideration. I'll be posting the book in the Google Classroom by today, and you will get to see the first chapter of this particular book. Several examples have been provided. Okay, so this is the thing that I wanted to discuss with you. And right now is the time for questioning, and one of the students was asking me a question. I'm stopping the recording right now.